Hello again. Today, I wanted to talk to you about the differences between an OBGYN and a midwife and what one would best suit you in the birth that you desire. So, one of the most important things that you can do in planning your birth is choosing a provider who supports the experience that you would like. So remember, it all comes down to informed consent and making sure that your expectations of birth match the actions that you're taking during your pregnancy and your birth. So I want you to picture what you want from your birth and then plan accordingly. As long as you choose a provider that matches your preferences for birth and you feel like you're the one in control of your decision making, you're going to feel empowered and you will have a positive experience. So I just want to take you through some of the standard beliefs that each provider has typically, and that way you can choose what one matches the best with what you see your birth as being. So first and foremost, OBGYNs have the belief that having a baby is a medical event. They are trained in the worst possible scenarios so that if it does present itself, they're able to handle it properly and they're able to save lives. Now, believing that birth is a medical event, this just makes it something that needs managed or controlled. And when you have that idea, then that is what increases interventions. So you will see OBs having more inductions, use of vacuum or forceps, continuous monitoring, and manually breaking the water, epidural usage, all the things. They are also trained surgeons who, at the drop of a hat, is able to perform a C-section. So when you go in to your appointments with an OBGYN, they're likely to be short and to the point. Just a tip for you, each time you go into your appointment, it would be very beneficial for you to have all of your questions written down ahead of time, as again, it's short and sweet, and it just makes the whole process a lot easier, and your questions will be answered better that way. So an OBGYN might be for you if, one, you believe birth is a medical event and you would feel more comfortable birthing with a trained surgeon. Two, you are planning on using medications during your birth, such as Pitocin, IV medications, epidural usage. You're okay with all of the interventions that may happen. And three, if you need surgery, an OB is definitely who you need. A big reason not to choose your OB is if they're your friend and you like their personality. If that's the only reason you're choosing your doctor, that is what gets women into trouble. OBs, they can be great people, just like anyone else. But if they do not have the same beliefs about birth as you, then it's a really good idea to start looking for a provider who does have those. Now, midwives. There's a few different types of midwives, and so I'll go through a few of them. Certified nurse midwives. These midwives, they go through nursing school, and then they go through a 2 to 4 year midwifery program. And most of the time, certified nurse midwives practice in the hospital, although in some states they do attend home births, and they're also allowed to write prescription medications. And these are almost all licensed. I believe there's a license in all states for a certified nurse midwife. Now, certified professional midwives, this is a direct entry midwife who has qualified and passed an exam. Some go to college or school and they get a degree, and some have gone through an apprenticeship. And this apprenticeship comes with requirements of everything they need to know and a certain number of births they need to attend. And these standards are set up by the North American Registry of Midwives, or NARM. So once a direct entry midwife goes through this process, she now qualifies to sit for the certifying exam. Once they pass this exam, then the direct entry midwife is now a certified professional midwife. And in some states, not all, but some states may license them. But with or without a license, they're still certified. Now, the last one that I'll talk about is traditional midwives. These are lay women who train and they gain knowledge through apprenticeship most of the time. Many don't have formal training, but they've learned in various ways, either from elder midwives who have served women in this way or by serving in their families or communities, and they just gain knowledge through that over decades. Now, most of the time, these midwives, they can't license through their state. These women only attend women in the home. So I just want to point out, some states simply recognize licensed midwives. And this is based on by a state-by-state standard and requirements. Usually they use the exam that NARM sets up to certify, but some states, they have their own examination in place. Now, just like OBs, each midwife has their own belief about the labor and birth process. And as a standard, most midwives believe that birth is normal and it's natural and that our bodies know what to do most of the time. Midwives are pretty hands-off when it comes to labor. They have lower rates of intervention. I do want to point out a common misconception is that if you choose to have a certified nurse midwife, you cannot have any medication for pain relief or no epidural. And that's just not true. In the hospital, you are still able to have pain medications. However, midwives are more likely to try non-medical interventions to manage pain, such as water or massage or different positions. The appointments that you'll experience with them for your prenatals, they tend to be a little bit more personal and a little bit longer. They focus on a holistic view of the woman, so physical, emotional, and spiritual side of pregnancy and birth. So a midwife may be best for you if, 1, you believe that birth is a normal and natural event. 2, you like the holistic approach to birth. And 3, you would like to try non-pharmaceutical ways of pain relief first, or are planning on having a natural birth. A midwife probably isn't the best for you if they're your friend or if they have a good personality. Again, this is not about that. This is about having the same views on birth as your provider so that they can support you in your decision making without any bias. Now, if you are currently with a provider and you have just realized that you might not necessarily mesh, it's totally fine, totally okay. It's never too late to change providers until the baby is born. It's your right to hire a provider that you feel most comfortable with. And I just don't want you to compromise. This is a very important step in having your blissful birth. So what type of birth interests you? And does an OB or does a midwife guide you in that direction better? Just for you guys, I created a quiz to help you see if you would mesh best with an OB or a midwife. So I want you to go to bit.ly/what provider best fits to take the quiz now. Remember, friends, birth matters. And if you're planning a blissful birth, find a provider that is on the same page with his or her beliefs. Everyone has some unconscious bias that may affect the decisions that they make. So your best birth starts with a provider that is on your side, that has the same beliefs as you. Now, a midwife that was super awesome and highly recommended by your friend might not be the best midwife for you. And your mama's OBGYN might not be your best option, might not be the OBGYN that's best for you. So it's okay to interview several, and it's okay to find the ones that you most like. And it's just a bonus if you become friends with them. But go ahead, take that quiz, and then I want you to come back here and comment on what provider best fits you. Either way, I want you guys to have the best birth possible. I want you to be in charge. I want you to have the same beliefs as your provider so that you can have a blissful birth. Thank you.